to do this. Men don't think about that. Men are not bothered. A man can wear one pair of pants, trousers,
and never be bothered.
He will just be changing his shirt. But the woman, because I've worn this once, I have to change it. I can't repeat it. Because if Adeline sees me, she's going to talk about it. We'll go to weddings, and when we are leaving, the women are rather discussing the bride's makeup, her gown, hair. The men are not bothered about the suits the man was wearing.
Because you are more, but you also be more. You also care more about certain elements like how much booze there was, how much premium booze there was, how much good food there was, who the DJ was. But the same way,
good music the DJ was playing.
That's where you may be inclined to also.
Those are highlights that we can both talk about, men and women, but not gossip about the bride.
You'll be surprised.
And it will even kind of. The hair makeup wasn't even nice. I'm sure they even didn't use any proper ABR, but at the end of the day, the food too wasn't nice. I don't know which. See, I've seen this countless times. Countless times. So women are beating each other and expecting or pushing the blame to an outside world.
But it's not really, to an extent.
Well, if you are in it, you won't see it like that.
Okay.
Because you are on the field, you know the strength you need to play the football. But the supporter there who has placed the bet expects you to win no matter what happens.
Yeah.
That is how it works. So here's the case: the man wants to come home, he wants you to be his peace of mind. He wants you to respect him, to love him, to show him all that care. And when a man says a good woman, he knows. It's only a deadbeat man who will pretend, he doesn't see it and still mess around. When a man is with a good woman, he knows. And I've spoken with a few friends who will say, Charlie, Kukwa, the other day, those days that I was with her, she really, really treated me well, but I messed up. If not, I would have married her. Or this person was really, really nice to me and I messed up. Men know when they see a good woman. But women believe, men, even if you cut your hair and put on a plate for them, they won't even see it.
But is it not the truth? Because, okay, example, men will see that it's a good woman, will understand that this woman is one in a million, will do everything to keep the woman, and then for years down the line, will choose to discard her. Even though they know perfectly well this is a really good woman and it's good for me and my home, they almost always want to trade in the woman for a newer model later on in life.
When you talk about models, all I think about is cars. Because I drive a Corolla now. I would love to advance. I'm not thinking of changing my woman for a newer model. If you talk about models, I'm thinking about cars.
I think we're having I was reading this, it was like a series of, I don't know if it was tweets or was articles or so about how, we are all divided into generations. So the boomer generation. And the boomer generations were a lot of women that were housewives that took care of their men, and the majority.
And some of them were more like slaves, crap.
Exactly. And how the boomer marriages of now are a lot of divorcees, because the men, after they get, the woman helps them build their home, build their careers, have their kids, nurture the kids. When they are in their 50s now, 40s now, they want newer, hotter, younger women. So they are they're either cheating in those relationships or going as far as leaving their wives to now go and actually marry second wives or newer wives that are younger, sexier, hotter, career-driven. Basically, everything that their wives are not now, they trade them in for a newer model.
Well, part of the blame goes to the woman too.
How?
And part of
how am I being blamed for a man?
Part of it goes to the man.
a man's failure to know that I'm a good thing. When we started the
relationship, you were wearing all those nice hair, nice wigs, nice dresses.
I made a deliberate agenda to leave that to become a wife that you needed and a mother for the kids.
See, the man wants you to be polite out there, be a lady out there, dress decently and everything out there. But when you get indoors, that is not who he wants to see. He wants to see the one that would let him bite his fingernails and call for his mother. So if you feel, we've been together I mean, before the kids came in, we were doing this and that. Now I've had children, you know, I get stressed during the day.
But I can never
do this
be
and
all
that.
of that for you.
I went to
The same way the man is not looking as attractive as he used to be 20 years ago. You have a pot belly now. You are not as exciting in every
but the
other
pot belly,
way.
you fed him so much food that
The only thing you have going for you now is more money. So how does that suddenly make you more attractive than me that has dedicated my years to creating a life and a family?
So very good. Here's the case. We started with something. And I was at this marriage ceremony, and the counselor that came in brought this up. He said, when you marry someone, remember that every 5 years or every 10 years, you are remarrying another person. And her explanation was, when you meet her, maybe she's a size 6. Kids come in, it's natural. You can hardly do anything about it. Even if she takes aerobics, she does the exercise or whatever, she may become a size 8 or a size 9. Maybe you are the type that is attracted to a size 6. But you are part of the reason she has become what she has become. So after like 10 years, don't expect to still meet that size 6 that you knew years back. She's still being good to you, but maybe it's the appearance that has changed. You can't say after 10 years, you are going to leave her and go for another size 6. She would also change. So after that 10 years, you are remarrying her, but as a size 8. And that is where the love stays. With this, we see it more with our parents and our grandparents. But now, right now, more the divorces are even more than the marriages.
Honestly.
50 people are getting married, 70 people are getting divorced. So the 20, where did we get them from? And sometimes it even becomes scary for those that are not married to even think of getting married. It becomes scary because all the stories you hear, a lot of the stories you hear are, and my husband was doing this, or my wife was doing this, and I've been with this man, and I had to go and see my ex-boyfriend for something, or maybe financial, and when we went, we had something to do, and now there's a child involved. I can't tell my husband, so I'm keeping the child, and my husband doesn't know. People have children, they take care of them 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and then at the end of the day, he gets to know the children are not his. Women are complaining that men cheat a lot, but when the case of DNA comes in, women are in trouble.
But have you not realized the fact that perhaps women do this? And there are situations where all the time infertility is blamed on the woman. And it's almost, we don't see people praying for men to have higher sperm counts. It's almost always a prayer for fertility for women. As if women are the sole reason why fertility issues come about. So a woman could feel obligated to cover the shame, quote unquote, because maybe she's not the problem. She knows her husband could be the problem, but her husband is not willing to also check the problem. So in order to maintain appearances as a family capable of procreating, I will take it upon myself to now find a willing or anonymous donor to now extend my husband's lineage, because really it's my husband's lineage I'm extending, not even mine, because it will not carry my name, it will carry your name. So I feel the need to extend my husband's lineage and give him the semblance of being a full man. So I'll do all that I need to do. Then at the end of the day, because I'm doing it on his blind side, because again, I don't want to bruise your ego. You say respect. You say be my peace. I'm being your peace by finding you a solution. Because it's probably you the problem, not me. So let me find a solution for you and quietly get it done. But then it's almost bastardized to make it seem as if, oh, women are the ones that are looking.
Why do you want to do it quietly when it is established that the man is a problem? If he knows he is a problem, then when you bring suggestions,
he will
listen.
That. Let me go and fire around.
First of all, alpha male, his ego has been dropped down maybe 3 inches or something, or 2 feet, knowing very well that he is a problem. If he knows, he is going to calm a little. If he doesn't know, that is where he's going to be all around. And you come back to me 7 years, 8 years after our marriage, and then I get to know our kids. What happened to discussing it with me? What happened to telling me about it?
But you don't want to know. You're just happy that she's now pregnant. You can't be bothered to, even though you know you could be a problem, you don't want to go and find out.
Then the man has a problem. If I know I have a problem having kids, and then all of a sudden my wife is pregnant, and all I am is excited, but I'm not asking questions, then I have a problem, aside the low sperm count, or whatever it is that may cause it. And I think the conversation about the blame being put on the woman most of the time when there is no child should belong to the 1980s. We've grown past that, or we've gotten to a point that education or even reading stuff should let you know it's not always about the woman. There are moments that the moment the woman steps out of the marriage, someone else can get her pregnant. She stays with you for 15 years and you can get her pregnant. Most of the time, the problem is not coming from only the man or only the woman, but there are two wrong pairs. Exactly. The man can have it elsewhere, the woman can have it elsewhere, but the moment they meet,
it becomes a problem.
It becomes a problem. So what happened to sitting down to think about it, talk about it, and discuss a way forward? If you feel you can't do it anymore, just go out of it.
Okay, so now let's broaden the conversation. We're asking what women can do to improve men's mental health. We've gone around on the point of being a man's peace of mind, where peace of mind is to mean just be more discerning about how you approach certain things without seeming too, for lack of a better word, aggressive in demanding answers and demanding him to comply. You have to be a bit more softer in massaging a man's ego.
I wouldn't say massaging his ego, because he may make silly decisions. That doesn't mean because you want to be his peace of mind, you support his silly decisions. Because you want to be his peace of mind, he says, Charlie, I've got this. An example is just this girl that we heard had been shot by her boyfriend. Which I saw the video and I'm wondering which girl flaunts her man's pump action gun even on social media. If you're with a partner and he's flaunting his weapons, or like he has weapons and you are happy, you see that it's the same weapon that took her, but that is still fresh. We won't even go there so we can leave the family too. You want to be his peace of mind, but you are not there to support his quote and unquote silly decisions that he wants to make. His correct and right decisions that he makes, you support him. And when the man knows that, oh, my wife is going to support whatever right thing I bring up, it even gives him some calm. If anything, he will come to you, the wife, to come and talk to you. There are a lot of men out there that they are scared of their wives, but they can't say it. They only will tell boys. Or sometimes, even when they tell boys, they know boys will laugh at them, so they will keep it to themselves. A lot of men are struggling with a lot of things, and they are not telling anybody. And that is where the Bemen soup comes in. They say, okay, as a man, you have to be hard. You have to be this. You can't be soft. You can't cry. You can't do this. You can't do that. So when there is something bothering him, he can't even share it with anyone. But here's the case that if you're showing him all the respect, you're showing him all the love, you are being the person he wants to talk to, you are being the shoulder he wants to cry on. Whenever there's anything, he comes to share it with you. You guys find a solution to it. Because trust me, whatever wrong decisions he makes, the repercussions, the two of you are going to share it, even if he made it alone. That is where the question was, oh, why didn't you discuss it with me? Why didn't you tell me about it? Why didn't you talk about it? So aside giving him all the peace, he wants to feel loved. He wants to feel respected. He makes a decision. He says, okay, let's put his headphones on the right. He may be wrong. Oh, baby, I know putting it on the right is nice. It has some aesthetic feeling to it. But how about we try putting it on the left? Let's see how it works. If he knows you are respecting him or he knows you support whatever he does, a man, and I mean a real man, I'm not talking for deadbeat men, a man and a real man knows, okay, why don't we try what my wife is saying? Because in his mind, my wife respects me. She loves me. So why don't we try hers? We put it there and it works for the two of us and we move on. But he says, if he says, let's put it there, no, my decision is final. We are not putting there. I am the man of the, you are the head, but the head stands on the neck. I am the man of the house. I've made a decision. We are putting the headphones on the left. It's not going to the right. You don't even listen. So you don't even take her opinion or her, and you expect her to be your peace. No. Next time she will also be defensive.
Well, let's bring in the one and only Helen Apia Ampofa into the conversation. Hi, Helen.
Hello.
You've been stuck on TV for a bit.
A little bit. You know, Mama Ghana has so many issues.
Yes,
but this one was for a good cause, Overlord of Dagbon visiting the presidency.
Yes.
A lot of culture.
Is this the first time Diana has visited?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Quite a very big entourage.
It was.
A lot to discuss. Also, the oral briefing is slated for this morning. So we were hoping 11 a.m. So
it's not started yet.
It hasn't started yet. I know
but
many people
we'll cross over when it does. I'm sure it's going to be exclusive.
Waiting for it. In fact, it was advertised for yesterday. It didn't happen yesterday. We're told today to look out for some more interesting detail of cases that we already know about.
And not to, also what else they're going to break, because usually this is an opportunity as well for them to highlight some of the other cases they're also pursuing.
That's
so
right.
It'd be nice to see which cases will be pursued. But let's talk about fathers. I mean, the men, before Father's Day. Now we're asking how we can be their peace of mind. A lot of them are bashing us. That we are the cause of their lack of peace of mind.
Oh, you're talking to the wrong person. Because when I walked in and I heard something that sounded along the lines of anti-peace, I was very excited. But you know what? That's
how
just...
can we take their peace away from them? I like it.
Women in wickedness. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. It is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we know that men go through a lot. I mean, one of the most shocking statistics is that if you have 100 suicide or 100 people, and we're talking suicide rates, 70 of those people will be men, 30 women. I mean, across the globe, men are. The stats for men committing suicide, ending their lives, is way higher than for women. I mean, there are certain nuances to that statistic, but what it tells us is that when it comes to emotional regulation, being able to handle what the world throws at you, men are not doing that so well. And I think it's for a number of reasons. One of those reasons being not being able to open up as effectively as they should.
Thank you.
Because sometimes you'll have both men and women querying why a grown man is being emotional. Now, when you're Obama,
you were not here when I mentioned it, but you see, you brought it up.
Yes.
And I'm glad it's coming from a woman.
Because
if I say it, maybe a listener somewhere will say, "Oh, okay, men are always about this, men are always about." You were not here.
Yeah.
But you see, you've brought it up.
Yeah.
So the peace of mind matters a lot. And even aside the committing suicide, life expectancy, men die and leave women all the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But then isn't that the natural way of the Lord?
The Lord. You think the Lord sanctioned this?
I mean, the men are supposed to go first. And,
I mean, if we're saying that when it comes to emotional regulation and, shall I say, emotional strength, the women...
No, but the woman can hold down the family better. So then it's never mind.
It just says, I don't want peace. I want violence always.
But you see, there have been some men too that don't have their wives around. Maybe the woman took the lead. When it comes to leaving this earth, the woman took the lead, and the men are doing very, very well with the children.
Yes,
and there's no
shout out to those fathers.
There's no stepmom involved. There's no other woman involved. Maybe a grandma who passes by once in a while to help them. But the men are doing very, very well with them. Sometimes we close our eyes on those men, and it's always, and a deadbeat father. We've seen some women do terrible things, and you wonder, is she a woman?
Yes. But then shouldn't women be allowed to do terrible things?
I was going to say that, you see how when a father, sometimes they say, hey, the dad is looking after the kids.
He's done so well.
I'm thinking, who should do that?
Ellen, it's because it is, society has made it look like it's always only the mother who can do it. It's always the mother and the fathers. No, they don't do this, they don't do this. And you see some posts on social media and people write, and maybe the father has done something, playing with the kids, holding the child upside down, playing like risky games with the child, and they say, okay, this is why we don't celebrate Father's Day. And it's always been bashing the man one after the other.
Right.
I can use myself as an example. I have a daughter. She was around 2 getting to 3. She was with me. Her mother wasn't around. I make my mom, because she's a daughter and something I'm teaching her, for her to know it's not so comfortable for a man to be seeing your nakedness. I make my mom give her a bath in the morning, dress her up for school. Then she comes to my place, or she comes to my room. Daddy, I'm ready for school. Maybe I take my shower. If I haven't, I move from the house, go and drop her at school. At the gate, I say, have a very beautiful day. When we get to the house, my mom is around, we'll give her a shower, we give her something to eat. And we were okay. During the weekends, we can maybe go to the mall. She misbehaves, I will punish you. Yes, we'll show all the
You're a strict daddy.
Not very really strict, that strict. You misbehave, I'll punish you for it. But she's 11 now. Out of her 11 years, I've came there only once.
Okay.
And now, what a shock to you know. She didn't see it coming.
She never expected it.
She didn't see it coming, but she did something extreme that I needed to let her know. This is how it is. When you go to that level, this is the level of punishment you have. After that, we went to one of the ice cream joints. We went to sit there, had ice cream, and I told her, this is why I punished you. It's because you did this or you did that. There are so many other fathers who also do what I am doing, and there are so many too that after the mother is not there, then the house is kaput. There's nothing going to go right.
In fact, I was on holiday with a group of women many years ago. I think we were all the way in Mexico. The father, who was left with the children, was calling the mother, where's the football boots? Where's the jersey? Where's
God.
I mean, they never know. Also, where's me, my passport? Where is me, my singlet? They don't know. And it's true. And you have some homes where it's actually daddy who does everything. You'll be surprised. The food that's been eaten, the washing. So I definitely say we have to give kudos to the fathers who are active and present in day-to-day life.
And let's not forget, no matter how hard or how stubborn the man is, there's a part of him that is still crying for his mother.
Really?
Yes. No matter how hard the man comes across, maybe there's this boss that at the office is like, hey, you, this, that.
Charlie?
Person that Charlie, today I don't get money for. A few guys will do it.
Yeah.
But if his wife is not wifing, he can't go and ask her, I don't have money for 4. Because if she's that type, are you trying to tell me, you've been going to work, you go in the morning and you come late in the evening? How common money for 4? You can't even afford it.
He'll come and bite you in the behind. Sometimes you can be vulnerable. And I heard men say this. I was vulnerable with her, and then when we got into an argument, that same thing I confided in her about, she threw it in my face.
So next time he won't even mention it at all. He will be there, and it's killing him slowly. Some will say he's going to look for another girl who will give him peace. Some people say they find so much peace, more peace in their side chicks than their wife. So some men come home, he is very, very happy. Not because his wife has made him happy, but because he has gone to see the side chick. He has had some razzmatazz there. And then he's excited. So when he comes, at least the wife also experiences some of the excitement.
Chalet Edu, but we'll get to it. We're giving you a chance to be able to interact with us. Send us your thoughts on this topic. 0532 300 927. 0532 300 927. How can we women give you men peace as well? It's Father's Day in a few days. What are you giving to your dad? Would you want to win him a spa day? Or some shoes from my Bronema shoes? We can give you all that. If only you get interactive. How? Tell us an amazing experience you've had with your dad. Add along a picture of you and him. And you could win yourself a very exciting spa day for Daddy to celebrate Father's Day. Send us a message to our WhatsApp number 0532 300 927. That's 0532 300 927. Or send us a message on 3FM 927 on social media. And as well, you can give us a call. Call us and maybe we might give you that exciting giveaway. We're asking you 2 things. How can we as women give you peace as men for mental health? It's part of your Mental Health Awareness Month of June. For men, that is. And 2, a shout out to your dad, and as well, tell me a great experience with your father or about your dad. You might just win yourself some spa days to Dorado Spa. Helen, how can we as women help the men with their mental health? In your opinion?
You know what? My stance has softened so much over the years. I feel like if you had asked me this, maybe 2022.
You have said,
as for you, that
the men deserve all the shake.
The violence has moved from Pro Max to Mini.
It has moved from Pro Max to Mini. I like that. If you'd asked me a few years ago, I'd have told you, me waiting concern me giving peace. I'm here to unleash anarchy.
Violence.
Because do men think about our mental health when they, execute some of their sinister plans? But
thank you.
With age, I understand that sometimes when men behave the way that they do, like Reggie is saying, it's really coming from that inner child. Because in a society where men are supposed to be strong, men are supposed to, have it all figured out, the pressures are so enormous. I can understand that it's not always easy to navigate this world. We talk about suicide rates. I believe it's because men don't have that opportunity to open up because of of this age-old narrative. And I think we should just provide a space. Don't always enter the conversation in an adversarial. Is that the word? Adversarial. I'll find out and come back. Adversarial manner. Don't be combative. It's very easy to think about all the other ways in which men, don't do right by us, but they're also human. They're also trying to figure it out. So I say we just create space for men to also share their experiences. I have one good guy friend, and I love checking in and asking him, how is he doing? How are you really doing? And like Reggie said, you get some insights that if you look from afar, you would never expect that this person is going through that. So let your guy friends know, let your boyfriends know, your partners, your husbands, let them know that there is a safe space for them to confide in you. And when they do, don't turn around at their weak moments and use it against them.
Now, with that particular point of creating a safe space, some people also like the idea of a masculine man, a man who, is there through thick and thin, and they feel like by giving them the chance to be extremely vulnerable, it also breaks the image. And sometimes the men are also afraid it will devalue me in the eyes of the woman that I love.
We have to leave that narrative in the past.
Thank you.
That thing
Remember
is
I
such
mentioned it's supposed to be in the 80s.
It's a colo mentality, because whether he's a macho man, army officer, he's a human with regular human DNA.
Thank you.
Disappointment, frustration, born of a woman, depression. It happens to us all. So if you are really expecting one human being to go through life's issues with that same street, that's why men are dying. That's why they don't make
Superman, even the character Superman has his weakness.
He has his human form where he's just as fallible as a regular guy. So this idea that, I want to be macho, ubewu. Ubewu. There's no other way to say it, because the body keeps score. When you suppress emotions, depression, when you don't address what is going on inside you, stress will raise your cortisol levels. This is pure science, right? This is backed by scientific data. Your cortisol levels will rise. You get all the attendant diseases that come with it, hypertension, stroke. There is really there's no other answer to this, that if you think you have to go through life holding that hard exterior, ubewu, it is just that.
It sends me to a few months ago. A friend of mine, I've been talking to, a female friend who has a child, and she's going through a lot because she's not with a guy. The gentleman, she got to know the baby daddy was getting married 3 months into her pregnancy.
Wow.
And she's a friend. So getting to know that, being a friend, I was there for her. Most of the time I'll call her, check on her. Even after she had a child, I'll go there, go and play with the child. And she was taking videos of all of those things, which to her was a really, really good moment. Once in a while, then she will send me one of those videos. Remember when you came to play with a little girl and everything? And it really, really gets to me when all those. And I tell her it's because I also have a child, and I know what sometimes. For me, I feel the moment you've been able to bring someone into the world, you should be part of their life. It is your responsibility, it's your job, whether you like it or not.
That's right.
And you can never say it was a mistake. The child that came isn't a mistake. Maybe your decision to go and lay with whoever you went to lay with was a mistake you made. But the child that came from it, it's not a mistake. Recently, she just sent a message and was like, Reg, that's what she called. She says, Reg, so when you need help or you need something, who do you ask? And AJ, for a moment, I was holding the phone. I was trying to think. On a normal, this is not something I'm supposed to think about to answer. But I was trying to think about it and trying to figure out, okay, so right now, if I'm in trouble, who am I going to call? Who am I, like, as a man? Financial stuff, there are people you can ask. But as a man, if I'm in trouble right now, who am I going to ask? And I sat down for like almost 5 minutes. I wasn't getting an answer to give to her. And then I just wrote, I don't know. When it gets there, we'll sort it out. After some time, I sat down to think about it, and I'm like, okay, this is not what it's supposed to be.
Right.
I should know that if I need help with something, or there's something bothering my mind, or I want someone to talk to, Helen is there. I can just call her and talk to her. If I need maybe some money or some to sort out some one or two things, AJ is there.
I'm glad you said AJ, because AJ can really sort
it. So when AJ gives me 60%, then I come and take 40% from Helen. You see, but there are some of those things. It's only a few men that get asked this question. that when you need help or when you need someone to reach out to, who do you talk to or how are you able to handle it? A lot of people don't care how. He's a man, he's supposed to handle it.
Yeah.
He's a man, he's supposed to be able to go through it. And it's killing our men slowly.
That's the pressure, Charlie, pressure. I like that Reggie mentioned this because, of course, in line with Father's Day. And now that I'm an adult and I can look at my dad and think, you know, when you get older, they start to confide in you about certain times when he didn't have money here. And I thought, you didn't have money? I didn't even know.
Exactly.
I had money, mom, because I made Jimmy, like I would have no idea.
Yeah.
And you think about it, and I just watch him and I think, man, kudos to you because to hold down a family. You're thinking about your extended family, immediate family. You're telling me there were days that you didn't have money, but I was never asked to leave school because of school fees.
Exactly.
I ate and over. When I'm a science also, ate and over ate. Charlie, finding money to fly you out during the summer so that you too can be part of, you know, also your person.
Charlie.
And you think, Charlie, I equal to the daddies because everything falls on daddy. And
we have to wrap it up. The Operation Recover All Loot press conference is about to start, and we'll quickly hand over to Beatrice. But before we go, final shout outs to your dad or father figures for Father's Day. Reggie?
My dad is no more. I lost him when I was 10. But one thing I remember he mentioned sometime, we were sitting in the car and he asked me, okay, so if you grow and you get married and you come home from work and your wife hasn't cooked, what will you do? 8-year-old me, I said, oh, I'll leave her. And go. Yes. 8-year-old me, I said, I'll leave her. You see the way you're laughing? When I said, that is how he laughed. And he said, oh, Olake easy. Like, you think it's that easy.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't understand it. It's now that I'm understanding what he was trying to say. Because, yes, that's what society has made it look like. The man should be able to fight whatever it is. But wherever he is, may God rest his soul. And I have learned, out of the 10 years that I was with him, I learned so much that I think 20 years or 30 years with someone, I may not have learned it. So to all the fathers, please, the deadbeat fathers, change your mind.
I mean,
the deadbeat fathers, you have been able to bring someone into the world. It is your responsibility. Don't run away from it.
Absolutely.
Just go and be part of your children's lives.
Amen.
I'm so glad that we don't have time for me to get into this. I always get emotional when it is Father's Day because I love my dad so much. He's my ultimate hero. He's allowed me to realize some of my greatest dreams, desires, everything in between. So God bless you, Mr. Samuel Apia Ampofo. He's a very, 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 very great guy. And I love him so much. Like, there's nothing I wouldn't do for my dad. And I'm so inspired by him daily. He just turned 76 and he's so strong, so fit, so healthy, and everything that I am today, I owe it to my dad.
That's amazing. Beatrice, you have to give us a shout out to your dad or father figure in your life.
I think Helen has said a lot about her dad. Yeah. And I don't want to repeat all those words. But yeah, I have a date with my dad this Sunday.
I love it.
You are paying.
Yes. Of course, I'm the one paying.
I'm taking daddy out, but daddy is paying.
No, I'm paying. I just told him that no, I'm paying.
Hey, you should leave the card at home. You're going. Yeah. So no, shout out to daddy.
I love you so mumuch. Okay, you're making me feel shy because I like to tell you in person. Yes, but that's what I said.
He should wire you money.
Yeah, he's an amazing dad. Yeah, daddy will do anything for me.
His name, though?
Henry Edu.
Oh, we love it. Yeah. And we'll be handing over to Beatrice very shortly. But a big shout out as well to my dad. Nana Kwame Akwaku support. Oh, my Henry of that will go challenge that area.
Your Highness, we greet you.
Yeah, he God has been good. He's been a great man, not only to us as kids, but to so many different amazing people. And that's the one thing that's kept me going. Everywhere you go, someone has something nice to say about your dad.
Amazing.
And he was one of the people that I thought good name is better than riches, even though sometimes I disagree. But he ensured that the good name was there, and today we have a lot to be thankful for that for. So a big thank you to all amazing fathers all across. Please send in your entries to 0532 300 927 to be a part of our Father's Day promotion. Tell us something amazing about your dad and you can win some souvenirs and more for daddy. Now it's time to go to The Attorney General Dominic Ayine addressing himself, and BHS will take over now to take us through all of that and more.
And this is Soul 3 FM 92.7. And thank you very much, AJ, for bringing us that.
So we're going to be crossing over now to that press conference by the Attorney General. And already he said a few things. He said he's received the full docket on the NSS scandal, and top-level NSA officials operated a criminal enterprise whose operations were nationwide. And so all these are coming under the Operation Recover All Loot, and he's giving us information on what has been uncovered so far. So let's just go straight into it.
In total, as I stated, we lost over 548 million Ghana cedis to the criminal enterprise perpetrated by these executives, these directors and staff, as well as the service providers in the marketplace. The criminal enterprise that resulted in the loss of this colossal sum of money to the state involved the creation of ghost names within the NSA payroll system, directors and staff, which they subsequently exploited to misappropriate state funds for their personal gain. This they did in direct collaboration with vendors and other accomplices. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations have revealed that prior to the commencement of each new service year, the directors would submit to Parliament for approval a budget figure representing the number of prospective service personnel for that particular service year. Consequently, or consistently, these figures were inflated by huge numbers. During the fiscal year, the directors will write to the Minister of Finance requesting permission to utilize excess funds allocated in the budget of the National Service Authority. Once authorized, the directors will transfer the funds into NSA's project account at the Agricultural Development Bank, and under the pretext of executing projects, will divert the funds into private pockets. Another criminal scheme hatched and exploited by the directors and staff is the deployment of ghost names onto the NSA system. Once deployed, the directors will then request that both ghost names and genuine names be transmitted by the head of accounts to the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, that is GIPS, for payment. These payments included payments to EaseWage cardholders procured for the fictitious national service personnel. Our investigations compared monthly data of verified national service personnel generated from the Central Management System and submitted to the NSA Accounts Office, and the data of the NSA personnel who were actually paid through the GIPS system for a period of 6 years. That is from 2018 to 2024. It was established that a total of 587,543 personnel were to be submitted to GIPS for payment of allowances. Meanwhile, data from GIPS showed that a total of 650,165 personnel were paid, indicating that 63,672 constituted ghost names. These consisted of the following categories of personnel. That is, national service personnel who were blocked on the CMS system during the registration process. Then personnel, national service personnel numbers that exist in the payment records but do not exist on the central management system. And then, of course, NSA or national service volunteers, and then some management staff and marketplace vendors. Fellow countrymen and women, our investigators additionally established that some of the ghost names were added to the list submitted by vendors, representing the number of service personnel to whom they had supplied items or provided loan facilities, allegedly. When these vendors eventually received the payments, the directors and staff would then contact the vendors whose accounts had received payments, meet with them, and collect the additional money that had been added to the vendors' payments. For instance, we have conclusively established that after collecting these funds, some of the suspects such as Gezi, Nyako, and Othing handed them over to suspect Osei Asibe Entry in cash, and on some occasions deposited the cash into his bank account. Osei Asibe was the chief executive, the director general of the National Service Authority. Some directors, such as Gifty Owari Mensa, created and executed a meticulously detailed plan using NSP, National Service Personnel Allowances, as security to obtain a loan of 30,698,218 cedis, 69 pesos, from the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, at an interest rate of 23%. She achieved these results by using other people's information to register a company called Blocks of Life Consult without their knowledge or permission. Subsequently, she presented Blocks of Life Consult through a middleman in the person of Maxwell Akwesi Ofori-Minta to an official of the Agricultural Development Bank, and enlisting her husband, Mr. Peter Mensa, a lawyer, to act as one of the directors or representative of the said company. She told ADB that the company specialized in supplying home appliances to national service personnel and proposed that ADB finance the company to enable it to supply these items on hire purchase basis to the service personnel, with the NSA being responsible for handling the deductions and repayments. During the period, suspect Gifty was the acting director, Gifty Owari Mensa was the acting director of the authority. However, on the marketplace of the authority, there was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty Owari Mensa used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts with the names of Amiacom, Scaffold, Oche, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Amiacom, and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gezi. That between 3rd March 2023 and 24th May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Amiacom, 1 million Ghana cedis to Scaffold, 1,572,000 Ghana cedis to Oche, and 5,200,000 Ghana cedis to Aristo Logistics and Training. We have this on record. We have all the bank details. We have everything, in the docket. Investigations, however, established that Eric Nyako, from 2017 until April 2024, and Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, April 2024 to December 2024, were responsible for preparing and transmitting NSP payroll data to GIPS for payment of allowances with the approval of the former NSA Director Generals, Mustafa Yusuf, who is now an MP, Gifty Owari Abuaje, acting from February 2021 to September 2021, and Osei Asibe Entry, September 2021 to January 2025. Without their explicit authority, nothing was possible. In other words, all these transfers could not have taken place without the authorization of the chief executive officers and or the director general, depending on the nomenclature that was used to describe their roles. 2023 service year, a total of 8,256,000 Ghana cedis was deposited into an eSwitch account numbered 1177042059, which is registered in the name of suspect Osei Asibe. Investigations showed that he personally received these funds. During a search at his residence, the aforementioned e-switch card was found, and we intend to tender it in evidence during the course of the trial. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations further revealed that another suspect, Haruna Maulaya of Al-Faida Ventures, a vendor in the marketplace, received a total of 21,306,272 Ghana cedis and 43 pesos into his account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Rose Hamilton of Marine Ventures received a total of 50,750,923 Ghana cedis, 15 pesos into her account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Isaac Asamani of Option Buy Ventures received a total of 11,458,686 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos into his account from 2027 to 2024. A total payment of 167,554,398 cedis and 50 pesos was made into the account of a savings and loan company, a savings and loan entity between 2019 and 2024. Suspect Sylvia Opari of Silsona, the names of the companies are very interesting. Silsona Ventures received a total payment of 10,746,634 Ghana cedis and 41 pesos into her account from 2021 to 2024. So Jacob Yosin of Inyasampo Ventures received a total payment of 19,199,638 Ghana cedis and 57 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspects Philomena Atta and Stephen Kobina Jemfi of Brainwave Ventures received a total of 17,646,523 Ghana cedis and 80 pesos into their accounts from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Solomon Jomina of Alpha Rita Ventures received a total payment of 8,236,019 cedis and 67 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Charles Ahiming of GH Ohetech Ventures received a total payment of 14,235,118 Ghana cedis and 14 pesos into his account from 2022 to 2024. Suspect Kwaku Opari Agofa and Prince Agofa Awoku of Fralisa Ventures received a total payment of 9,011,164 and 35 Ghana cedis into their accounts from 2023 to 2024. However, none of the aforementioned vendors provided evidence to the investigative team or to myself to prove that the amounts of money they received corresponded to the items supplied or the loans supposedly made to the National Service personnel. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and my fellow countrymen and women, having concluded our investigations, we'll be filing charges against 12 suspects who worked as directors and staff of the NSA. I've already listed them, but for the abundance of doubt, let me mention them again. These are Mustafa Yusuf, a former executive director, Osea Sibe Entry, former director general, Gifty Owari Mensa, former deputy executive director, Kwebe, former deputy executive director for operations, Abraham Bismarck Gezi, former internal auditor, Kweku Dechi Eje, an accounts officer, Idrusu Ibn Abubakar, former head of accounts, Stephen Kobina Jemfi, who is, I've asked that he should be rearrested because we've discovered some new accounts that, contain some deposits, and so he was picked up this morning. So he is currently he's undergoing further interrogation. Koforidua, he's the Koforidua director, then Prince Agofa Ewuku, a district director, and Jacob Yorsin, management information systems administrator in the northern region. We will also file charges against the following persons who are vendors on the marketplace on the central management system of the NSA in the eastern, Greater Accra, and Ashanti regions. Isaac Osei Asamani, the owner of Stalwart Option Buy Ventures. Charles Ohomening, the owner of GH OHEC Ventures. Philomena Arthur, the owner of Brainwave Ventures. Rose Hamilton, the owner of Marine Ventures. Kwaku Opare Agofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures. Solomon Jamina, the owner of Afarita Ventures. Haruna Mawulaya, the owner of Alfaida Enterprise. Sylvia Ntriwa Opare, the owner of Silsona Ventures. And then Peter Mensa, a legal practitioner and the husband of Gifty Oware Mensa. We have made the decision to enter into non-prosecution agreements with some of the persons who were involved in this criminal enterprise, especially the vendors, and these have agreed to provide compelling testimonies as witnesses for the prosecution. In this regard, we have agreed not to disclose their names or their details at this press briefing as part of the NPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement. Because this is going to inure to the efficiency of the prosecutions that will be mounted. And in every prosecutorial decision making, we have the discretion to take decisions that will inure to the benefit of the Republic. And we have decided in the office, together with the investigators, that some of the marketplace vendors and some other directors and staff who came to us may be serving as prosecution witnesses. Some of them offered to be prosecution witnesses, and we rejected their offers. They came, met with my deputy. We evaluated the evidence and thought that it will be inimical to the entire prosecutorial enterprise if we accepted their offers to serve as prosecution witness. So, given the numbers that we're offering to serve as witnesses, it can tell you where we are headed with this investigation. And when the trial starts, with this prosecution, when the trial starts, you'll get to know the evidence that we have meticulously gathered from February, when I took over the oral report and handed them over to NIB, to the present. Having provided this factual background, our position is clear that these persons are reasonably suspected to have committed crimes and shall be charged accordingly with the following crimes: stealing, contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Conspiracy to steal, contrary to Sections 23.1 and 124.1 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Willfully causing financial loss to the state, contrary to Section 179A3A of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Using public office for profit, contrary to Section 179CA of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Obtaining public property by false statements, contrary to Section 5 of the Public Property Protection Decree 1977, SMC 140. Money laundering, contrary to Section 1, subsection 2C of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1044, and conspiracy to commit money laundering, contrary to Section 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1020. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, as part of the oral agenda, I have ordered that a comprehensive investigation of the assets of these persons be conducted. That investigation is ongoing, and we shall be pursuing the suspect to retrieve funds attributable to them and assets they have acquired using those funds. So I want to thank you very much once again for covering this press conference. God bless you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General. The floor is now open for some questions from members of the media. So as we do it, if you have a question, please put your hand up. I'll call you, you come forward, ask it, and then it will be answered. Each person is entitled to only one question in the interest of time. Alfred, I thought I saw your hand up. So if you have a question, just come forward and ask it, please. So this way, yeah. Please come. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Alfred Okanse. I work with Media Journal, TV3,
I need
3
you to step
FM.
forward so that the
Okay.
cameras can come.
First off, you earlier mentioned at the previous conference that there was a member of parliament who was contracted to, as it were, kill the story of this NSS scandal in the media. Any updates on that said member of parliament? Because I didn't hear anything in this updates that you gave. And the second one is that I get the point that you have put together all of these persons as well. Any indication of when prosecution will start? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfred. There was a second gentleman. Yes, please go ahead. Please step forward.
All right. My name is Job Kwabena Laboja. I work with the Tobinco Media Group, Bullet TV. Alfred asked my first question, which has to do with when are we going to see them being charged. And my concern is the mode of operation by the current Attorney General, which is your office. Many have argued that why come out to tell us all this when you can just go to court and then come and tell us what they have been charged with, and then we can all have confidence that you are really committed to dealing with this matter. That if you can respond to that for us, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions, please? All right, please step forward, anybody who has a question. In the interest of time, we need to manage it.
Thank you very much. My name is Mutala Inusa. I work with the IB Network, GH1 TV, and Star FM. Honorable, my question is in respect of those suspects that you decided to accept their proposals and those that you do not accept. What specific criteria goes into whose offer do you accept and whose offer do you reject? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Joyce Danso. I write for the Ghana News Agency. I want the Attorney General to educate us on what exactly is non-prosecution agreement and then plea bargaining agreement. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Please go ahead. Ask your question.
Thank you for your brilliant presentation. To be very honest, if I knew this program, a national service, I wouldn't have struggled all the way from 25 Tema to this place. But I came here purposely because of what was published on Aura. We have, as an organization, made a petition to Aura and written a letter to you. My name is Solomon Kwaku Mensa.
Excuse me, sir. If it is not related to national service, I would ask you to hold on. After this session, the Attorney General will grant you audience to listen to the specific petition that you have so that we can use the time judiciously. Thank you very much. You may resume your seats.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we'll take one last question in this round, after which the Attorney General will provide answers.
Please help me.
Thank you very much. My name is Jude Duncan from CTFM Channel 1 TV. In February this year, the president mentioned that the assets of suspects in the National Service scandal had been frozen. In this very press briefing, you mentioned that their assets will be, sort of monitored. Your conclusion. I want updates as to whether indeed their assets have been frozen or whether you are still just, monitoring their financial flow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the Attorney General will answer these questions.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your very wonderful, questions. The question in relation to the member of parliament who was, in the center of the investigation. There are two members of parliament who were investigated in this scandal. One was a former chief executive officer, the Honorable Mustafa Yusuf. And so in his case, we basically had the evidence, relating to that he had taken as the executive officer, and then we interrogated him. In the case of the famous A+, the investigation is still ongoing, and there are talks with him with respect to the role that he will play, either in respect of providing evidence against those who try to do what is alleged to have been done, or if at the day no agreement is reached, then maybe he will have to stand trial. That is where we are with respect. So the investigations are ongoing. We haven't concluded with him yet. The investigators were supposed to go to Parliament and do the interrogation in Parliament. And at the last time that they made a request, they could not do the interrogation. Now, in terms of the timing of prosecution, there have been a number of developments that came in very late. So as late as yesterday in the evening, we met in the office with one of the principal actors who is offering, to provide us with evidence. In other words, the person wants a non-prosecution, agreement. So we've asked that the lawyer should, she should go, and she and the lawyers should go and then bring the to examine and then see what what can be done. Okay, so we are thinking that in the next 2 weeks we will be able to evaluate all of those proposals, including the fact that suspect Jamefi was rearrested. We'll have to look into the additional accounts, and then in the next 2 weeks we can deal with all those issues, and by the first week of July we should be filing charges against them. Now, someone asked why the press briefing. This is a I get all the time. The detractors of oral, that is those who do not want or are not enamored of the oral agenda, would usually say that this is persecution, a persecution of the suspects in the media, or prosecution of the suspects in the media. Now, the United States of America is one of the world's oldest democracy, okay? And U.S. prosecutors, district attorneys, or even the Attorney General of the United States of America, when they conclude investigations, they brief the press on their findings. Sometimes they file the charges and come out of the courtroom to brief the press on the charges that have been filed. There is nothing absolutely wrong with this. So those who think that accounting to the people, if you look at the meaning of the word accountability, accountability simply means to explain one's actions. And so we have a duty to account to the people of this country. And so when I'm taking prosecutorial decisions, I account to people of our country for the decisions that I take. So this is the whole essence of the exercise. And especially within the context of oral, we don't want any situation where we file charges and then we are being told that we have just decided to persecute people because of their political leanings. In all the press briefings that I have done, I have not mentioned or connected any political party to the actions of the people that, you know, I arrest and investigate. Okay? So the idea of doing this is not in order to make any political party look bad or any faction in our Ghanaian politics look bad. What we are doing is simply to account to the people of this country. And it doesn't matter how many times it is said, I will continue to, account to the people of this country through the press briefings that we, the press engagements that we do from time to time. Then, what are the criteria for an MPA? And then somebody asked, what is the difference between an MPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement, and a plea bargain? A non-prosecution agreement is an aspect of the plea bargain. A plea bargain is simply a negotiation between the prosecutor and a person suspected of the commission of a crime, okay, that may turn out to achieve a number of objectives. Okay, so sometimes you drop the charges in exchange for the payment of a fine or a penalty. Sometimes you drop the charges so that that person will serve as a witness, and because the person was proximate to the commission of the crime, they will have information that is compelling enough to prove your charges for you. All right? So we do plea bargaining, and one of the outcomes of a plea bargain may be an MPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement. Okay, so that means that when we sign the non-prosecution agreement, we usually would immunize that person, grant that person indemnity from prosecution on certain conditions, or, you know, sometimes unconditionally. Okay, so it is guided by, you know, some, considerations in the context of the prosecution itself, or the criminal justice system. And by the way, in Ghana, we have the Plea Bargain Act, which is an amendment to Act 30 that allows the Attorney General to enter into a plea deal. And by the way, just by way of public information, I have never, okay, and I want to repeat that, I have never approached anybody who is under prosecution now or who will be prosecuted for a plea deal. I've seen on social media allegations that I charge and then subsequently I'm asking the person for a plea deal. I'm always in my office quietly, and they send people to come to me and then seek, you know, audience as to whether I am amenable to a plea deal. All right, and until such a time that we achieve the plea deal, we normally don't announce it, you know, to the public. So that is what a bargain is, and then the MPA can be a result. That is, the non-prosecution agreement can be the result of plea negotiations. The last question was with respect to what His Excellency, the President, said regarding the freezing of assets. What we froze were their bank accounts. All right? What we froze were their bank accounts. Okay? But they may have other assets, such as houses, okay, apartment blocks, cars, and so on. Okay, those are the subject matter of the investigation that is taking place now. And as I said in the first, press conference, which was on the Kwabena Edubonhe, investigation, I said we normally do contemporaneous investigation of the crime, the criminal enterprise, as well as the, asset recovery. All right. So we are using the same approach now, but with this one, it is slower, because of the fact that, you know, if once we begin the prosecution, you will understand that they were doing mostly cash transactions. Okay, someone, will go and take the cash from the bank and then go and give it to one of the directors or one of the staff, and so on and so on and so forth. Okay, so unlike the previous investigation where the documentary trail was very easy, and then led us to certain, assets that the person owned. because some of them were owned by his companies and so on. In this case, it is a bit different. That is why we have frozen the financial assets, that is the accounts, but we are still doing the investigation with respect to houses, cars, and so on. I hope that makes it very clear for the person who wanted to know the difference between what His Excellency said and then what I said in my press briefing. Thank you.
Yeah, so if there are any, please come forward. If there are any other questions, we will take them in this round, after which we will draw down the curtains on this session. So please identify yourself and ask your question.
My name is Clement from the 4th Estate.
Your full name, please.
Clement Edward Kumsa from the 4th Estate. The team want to find out, during our investigations, management said it's only Ghana card that can be used to validate a national service personnel on their platform. It appears the platform was easily manipulated and the ghost names were uploaded. We want to find out, in your prosecution, are those the developers of the platform parts of those you are prosecuting?
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions, please? Okay.
My name is Venice Bese. I report for the Chronicle, and I'm also a court reporter. We've seen the Dr. Opunin prosecution, how it went. It took almost 7 years. What is the timeline for this prosecution? Are we going to see it traveling or going on the long haul like 7 years, or the 4 years will go by when this prosecution has not ended? Because we've heard something that they are going to frustrate the case.
All right, thank you. Please pass it on to the next questioner.
My name is Vanessa Edotum Boateng.
Please come forward. Step forward. Yeah.
My name is Vanessa Edotum Boateng. I'm with Ignite Media Metro TV. So my question is, this is a lot of money, over 548 million. Are we going to recover all these monies? And it wouldn't just be that people are prosecuted, probably they go to jail, and that's it, because it's a lot of money and it can do a lot of things for the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that will be it for the questions in this round, which is the final round, I must indicate. Honorable Attorney General, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the questions. The first one relates to the IT system and its vulnerability to manipulation. You are right about the fact that the IT system, from all that we have gathered, has been very, vulnerable and has been manipulated to foster the criminal enterprise that I am describing today. Now, the question whether the IT, the developer will be prosecuted is, for me, it's not a question that we should be asking. The reason is simply because it's a contractual, issue. Okay, so they have developed a system. If there are vulnerabilities in the system or it is deficient and is not fit for purpose, that's a contractual issue, and we can take that up and then sue them because the system was not fit for purpose. Now, if in the course of that we discover, for instance, that they deliberately set it up to be manipulated in this manner, then we can say that they are accomplices. Okay, but in the current circumstances, the IT management personnel who were the ones who manipulated the system for purposes of fostering the criminal enterprise are the ones that we are concentrating on now. Then the timeline for prosecution. Well, I have my prosecutorial plan laid out, okay? And I'm keenly aware of what defense lawyers can do, okay? I was, for many years, a defense lawyer myself, so I know their tricks. Remember the famous Tagore case? I was the one who freed Tagore together with Kisi Ajabing from prison. So I know what to look for, what defense lawyers look for. in, any prosecution. If you picked up, thank you for the intelligence that you have picked up, that they say that they and their lawyers will frustrate me. I have plans in place to avoid frustration. Okay? I know what I am doing. And together with my able deputy, we will make sure that the people of this country, because if they frustrate me, they are frustrating the people of this country. And as one of the questioners, said, 548 million is a lot of money. In fact, the president is thinking of a Accra-Kumasi expressway that will make it possible for, commuters to travel within, an hour to Kumasi. That 548 million, in my estimation, could have built that expressway. So yes, it is a lot of money, and that is why we are going to take the prosecution really very seriously. Look, if you have had 8 million Ghana cedis lodged into your account from public funds, and you say you frustrate the prosecutor, how are you going to do that? Supposing he didn't know, that's a different matter altogether. Or if you have your companies and public monies are flowing through your companies, and you cannot tell the prosecutor why those monies were being transferred to your company and they were being used for private purposes, and you say you frustrate the prosecutor, well, they should come with all the technicalities in the world. We are waiting for them. We are waiting for them in the courtroom. This is going to be a different ball game altogether. I'm not bragging, but it's going to be a different ball game altogether. So we will do our best, and thereafter, as for recovery, is an integral part of our strategy. Recovery is an integral part of our strategy. All right? The meaning of oral is Operation Recover or Loot. And so once we institute a prosecution in the context of oral, recovery is an integral part of it. We are not going to, leave any stone unturned. Can we recover everything? We may not be able to recover everything, but we will set up funds for this republic and for public use. So I thank you very much. God bless all of you, and see you at the next press briefing.
3 FM.
3 FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Some 15 minutes past the hour of 12. You're here on 3 FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Edu, and if you were joining us on the radio, you heard the Attorney General, Dominic Ayene, giving details of the information he's gathered so far on the National Service Secretariat scandal. I'll be running you through some of the details he gave us just a minute ago if you're just joining us. My name is Beatrice Edu. Now, just a summary of what the Attorney General Dominic Ayene just gave us, and I'll be bringing you that summary very shortly. But let me bring you some other headlines we have for you at this hour. Attorney General files to file charges against 12 former directors at the National Service Authority over 548 million Ghana cedi criminal enterprise. Also coming up in the next 15 minutes, nurses and midwives finally call off 10-day strike after Parliament Health Committee's intervention.
We call on our dear nurses and midwives to resume their normal shift duties from Saturday, and we wish to assure you that we will not rest on our oars.
Also, the King of Dagbang pays historic visit to President John Mahama at the presidency. We'll tell you shortly what the discussion centered on. So So let's start off from that press conference we just ended and the painstaking investigations by the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, regarding the activities of the National Service Authority, NSA, has uncovered that over 548 million Ghana cedis was allegedly siphoned by a criminal enterprise operating at the authority. This was disclosed by the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, just some minutes ago at a media briefing as part of progress made since the dissolved Operation Recover or Loot, ORO. Now, ORO was launched as a countermeasure to retrieve looted state funds and property from individuals. Let's listen to a bit of what Dr. Dominic Ayine said some minutes ago.
Our investigations have revealed a sprawling criminal enterprise whose network covers the entire country. This criminal enterprise was run by top-level executives of the National Service Authority and their accomplices in the private sector, known as vendors or service providers. This criminal enterprise resulted in the siphoning of huge sums of public funds into private pockets. In total, we can confirm from our evidence on the docket and from interrogations that a whopping 548,333,542 cedis and 65 pesos. That's how accurate.
And you heard Dominic Ayine detailing the amount of money siphoned. Let me bring you a breakdown of the 548 million cedis. And between 2017-2018, there was about 25 million Ghana cedis siphoned. Between 2018 and 2019, 21 million plus Ghana cedis siphoned. 2020 to 2021, 55 million plus, actually 55.6 million Ghana cedis siphoned. 2022, 2023, 350 million Ghana cedis siphoned, plus some more. And then 2023 to 2024, about 32.8 million Ghana cedis siphoned. The AG went ahead to name individuals involved in this. Let's just take a bit of that detail.
There was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty Kwaku Mensa used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts with the names of Amiacom, Scaffold, Oche, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Amiacom and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gezi. That between 3rd March 2023 and 24th May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Amiacom.
And you have the Attorney General. Of course, we'll bring you more of it in our subsequent bulletins, but just a bit more of the detail before we move on to other issues. I told you earlier that the AG is going ahead to file charges against 12 individuals who worked as executives at the National Service Secretariat or Authority. These include Mustafa Yusuf, Gifty Kwaku Mensa, Abraham Gezi, Idris Abubakar, Stephen Kwabena, Prince Awuku. You also heard him there talking about other individuals outside of the authority and the secretariat who would also face charges as well. These individuals include Isaac Osei, Asama Ne, also Philomena Arthur, Kwaku Opare, Sylvia Opare, Peter Mensa, who is the husband of Gifty Kwaku Mensa. Of course, we'll bring you all the full names on 3news.com, but the AG went ahead to also talk about some of the charges that will be preferred against these individuals who have been named, and he said they will be charged with stealing, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, also obtaining public property by false statement, money laundering, conspiracy to commit money laundering. And he went on to also say that the AG is not just prosecuting these individuals. He has already ordered that there be a comprehensive audit of the individuals, their asset, to retrieve what they did receive using state asset. And then he also went on to clarify the fact that there had been some 2 MPs who had earlier tried to intervene to stop this story from ever being published. Of course, there are a lot more details on our socials, and you can also log on to shrinews.com for more of it. So let's bring you this news coming in as well. Came in a bit earlier. Striking nurses have also called off their 10-day nationwide strike, ending days of frustration at several health facilities. On Thursday, a meeting between Parliament Health Committee and the leadership of the striking nurses and midwives was held behind closed doors for over 4 hours. It was one meant to discuss possible frameworks or modalities to address the concerns raised by the group which caused their strike. Now, after a National Council meeting, the nurses suspended their strike late this morning. Over 120,000 nurses embarked on the strike to demand the implementation of the service conditions signed in 2024. While announcing the decision on Facebook, President of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Perpetual Ofori, said they will not rest on the horses until the agreement is implemented.
Considering all that has transpired from 2nd June 2025 in relation to the pleas of the good people of Ghana, pleas from our patients, and the timely intervention of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association's industrial action initiated on 2nd June 2025 is hereby suspended, pending the outcome of the follow-up meeting scheduled for 26 June 2025. We call on our dear nurses and midwives to resume their normal shift duties from Saturday, 14th June 2025. And we wish to assure you that we will not rest on our oars until the collective agreement is fully implemented.
And I heard that Perpetual Ofori, she is the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Some 24 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll bring you more. Don't go away.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Freezer, get the abba. Adama for the abba, a freezer. Adama, a quaffosamentia. Adama, make him so, my sorry. Can you know, over Moasia? I do for the Nobium Unum and last night. I tell what we did was here. Adama for the quaffon we say. Yet the Druba pet, a ship we be a high technology. I could for freezer. When Kwan, and once open your 15 letters. No fugum, what's ya, no fugum. What the bus here? For you be anywhere, what's your equity self, over Timono. Then we sure say, woman sure task here. Then what's enough for now? Freezer, power up a day. Freezer, Dacia, a bastion do so among Ammoniaji. Omtina me, Miwasika, Omtina me, but you may not do some doom. Adama, without Adama, no queer. Adama, you can't resist.
Ubenya Adama West Africa for a dream, or baby bear a tongue cry on you. I say, Kayona Kinka in Choya, a dream.
27 minutes past the hour of 12 now. The overlord of Dagbang, Yana Abubakar II, has paid a historic visit to the seat of government. The first time since President John Mahama was sworn into office. The meeting is an official one by the Dagbang overlord to congratulate the president on his assumption of the high office of president. It will be the second time the president is meeting the Yana this year, but the first as he welcomes him to the Jubilee House. The meeting focused on ensuring lasting peace in Dagbang that has largely been settled with pockets of unresolved conflict. It also served as the platform for the Yana to speak on issues of national concern, especially the Boko crisis. Let's hear what President John Mahama said.
When Dagbang calls, Ghana listens. And when the Yana visits, the state must rise to receive him with a full respect and honor. The state must rise to receive him with a full respect and honor that is due to one of Africa's greatest kingdoms. In Dagbang, it is said, and if I don't get this right, don't laugh. Ka yina pam yele ka zugu yuli. I don't know whether I'm saying it right. Ka yina pam yele ka zugu yuli. When the elders walk in unity, the community prospers. Your presence here today is a reaffirmation of the bond between Ghana's democratic institutions and our cherished traditional authorities. This bond must never be broken, for in it lies the continuity of our civilization, our peace, and our development.
You heard that, President John Mahama. And before we go, Israel has launched large-scale strikes against Iran, and that happened today, saying it had attacked nuclear facilities and missile factories and killed a swathe of military commanders in what could be a prolonged operation to prevent Tehran building an atomic weapon. U.S. President Donald Trump reacted to this by saying that Iran had brought the attack on itself by resisting U.S. demands in talks to restrict its nuclear program and urged it to make a deal, quote, with the next already planned attacks being even more powerful, unquote. Now, Washington said that it had no part in the operation. However, Iran has also promised a harsh response to a barrage that killed the heads of both its armed forces and the powerful Revolutionary Guards. And Israel said that it was trying to intercept about 100 drones launched towards Israeli territory in retaliation. My name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Log on to srinews.com for more news. Coming up next is Business Daily with Bismarck Awisa.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the business news on Business Daily 3FM 92.7. Coming up, agriculturist urges government to ring-fence agri sector for sustained growth.
In this entire scheme would also receive their share after the monies were paid to these said ghost names or non-existent national service persons. Also, quite apart from the ghost name,
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, agriculturist urges government to ring-fence agri sector for sustained growth.
We deepen those factors, we promote those factors, then to be able to sustain the growth.
From the medium to long term, agriculture is going to play a major role, given the quantum of budgetary allocation.
Also ahead, government targets higher treasury bill seeking 7.58 billion cedis today as yields decline. Plus, energy analyst observes Ghana's green energy ambition is being hampered by funding and incentive.
The key component of implementation, which is private sector participation and mobilizing the necessary resources to implement these policies. I think as a country, we've not focused much on that.
I am Bismarck Kausa. These stories and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the very first story. Ghana's agri sector has kicked off 2025 on a high note, registering 6.6% growth in the first quarter, a significant leap from the 2.9% recorded in the final quarter of 2024. However, the pressing question on the minds of policymakers and stakeholders alike is, can this growth be sustained? The following business report has more. The gross domestic product (GDP) share of agriculture was 23.5% in the first quarter of 2025. This is driven largely by a strong rebound in cocoa output by 3.3%, a surge in the fishing subsector by 16.4%. Agriculturist Edward Kariwe suggests how the surge in the growth in agriculture can be sustained.
The growth is positive, the growth is encouraging, and what we need to do is to make sure that we identify the factors that have led to this type of growth and ensure that those factors are promoted. So we deepen those factors, we promote those factors, then to be able to sustain the growth.
In the 2025 budget, government allocated 1.5 billion cedis for the sector towards its Agri for Economic Transformation program. Analyst Nelson Kujo Kwaweji has urged government to be deliberate with implementation.
We expect the contribution of agri towards the overall GDP growth rate to increase. I think that the position of government since the presentation of the budget has been clear. They want to use agri as a catalyst to actually accelerate the development and growth of the economy. And so I believe going into the future, from the medium to long term, agriculture is going to play a major role, given the quantum of budgetary allocation.
Edward Kariwe wants the sector to be protected.
If we are able to align our policies in a manner that they do not cause harm or serious harm to the agricultural production, but rather promote it, that will be the way forward. We all remember the discounted benchmark value, which was implemented in 2019 until 2023. And it used to give some type of gifts to importers, including agricultural produce.
Experts agree that addressing systemic challenges and supporting farmers provide the opportunity for sustained agricultural growth. And that was a report on how government can sustain the surge in the growth of the agriculture sector. Now, government is set to ramp up its domestic borrowing efforts today, aiming to raise a substantial 7.58 billion cedis through its weekly treasury bill auction. This target marks a significant increase of 990 million cedis over last week's goal of 6.66 billion cedis as the government intensified its mobilization to meet looming debt maturities. The success of this auction will be crucial for the government's short-term liquidity management and its broader fiscal consolidation efforts. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details.
This increased target comes at a time when yields on treasury bills have been consistently declining. The Bank of Ghana's recent auction results show a continued downward trend in interest rates across various tenors. This softening of yields reflects market expectations for easing inflation and a more dovish monetary policy stance by the central bank. For instance, the 91-day T-bill yield has seen a steady decrease, with similar trends observed for the 182-day and 364-day instruments. While lower yields generally reduce government's borrowing costs, the increasing target amount suggests a significant need for funds to manage upcoming obligations. The government's strategy appears to be a delicate balance, capitalizing on declining yields to borrow at a lower cost, while at the same time ensuring sufficient funds are raised to address its debt profile.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on government targeting higher treasury bill auction amid declining yields. Moving on, Ghana has marshaled the necessary resources to be able to effectively implement the various transition plans that have been put up, especially with respect to policy. Since 2011, Ghana has brought out renewable energy plans, including the Renewable Energy Master Plan and the National Transition Framework, which came into effect in 2022. Executive Director of SEMSI, Benjamin Insia, has observed the country has failed to put in place the needed incentives to attract investment into renewable energy. He noted Ghana has a position transition framework on its needs and funding.
Looking at all these plans and policies that as a country we formulated, implementation has been a challenge because the key component of implementation, which is private sector participation, mobilizing the necessary resources to implement these policies. I think as a country we've not focused much on that. It has become a lip service that always want to transit. With respect to the Renewable Energy Master Plan, for example, various targets we set for ourselves that we are able to achieve within the power sector, where we mentioned that we should be able to get at least 10% of our renewable within the energy mix or within the energy sources. We've not been able to achieve that. So speaking, we have only 4% of the power sector energy generation being related to renewable energy. What that also means that most of our renewable energy still falls within the thermal production. And thermal production, which uses natural gas, also has a form of methane emissions, and that also contributes to GHG effect in the atmosphere.
You heard the Executive Director at Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSI, Benjamin Insia, and that brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, s3news.com. Thanks for your company.